Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I am joined by Pastor Dave Scarlett, and he's from His Glory. And we've spoken before, haven't we? How are you?
Good to see you.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an interesting, well, few hours, really. As we were just talking off camera, there's been a terror attack in Jerusalem, 6 people dead. I mean, when is it going to calm down over there?
Well, I don't know if we'll see any complete peace until the time the Messiah comes back, but we're trying. Anytime you get to this spot, you're going to have terror attacks. I was mentioning to you off air. I was surprised no Israeli general gave me a heads up. Well, they actually did. I was speaking to a couple of them yesterday, and the offense after President Trump said "Go get them" and gave Hamas a final warning. The generals told me that Israel was indeed going to go in, and you can expect that there would be some sort of terrorist attack. And here we are. It looks like there's 6 people dead in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it's not good at all, is it? But we're hoping to see an end to this conflict in the not too distant future. And hopefully, a ground assault will whittle out these terrorists because so many innocent people have died over there. And that has to come to an end once and for all. So, yes, I think Trump giving the go ahead to clear out the terrorists is a good thing.
It is a good thing. And wake up the American people and really the world too. There's this fake news has been saying forever what the falsity of what's happening in Gaza. I've been to Gaza many times with one of the generals I know, and it's not the people of Gaza. They're innocent. It's the leadership that's just taking the money, taking the food, literally taking their water, taking their electricity. And that's what the media needs to be focused on, how the everyday Gazan is being manipulated by Hamas.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because why haven't the people themselves stood up and said enough's enough and make Hamas disappear? Because I've even seen the videos of Hamas stealing the food aid trucks, you know, beating people in a market square. It's awful. It's absolutely atrocious what is going on over there. And the fact that we're seeing, unfortunately, mass casualties because they are so entrenched in there is just absolutely mind boggling. And hopefully, this conflict will end in the not too distant future.
I think it will. You got the green light. President Trump working very closely with Benjamin Netanyahu to give the offense the green light, like President Trump did last night, is a good sign. And we don't want war; we want peace. But the radical Islam, all they know is strength, and you got to take them out with strength. You mentioned, why do the Gazan people not rebel? Because it'll be their life. There's too many in Hamas. They don't know to the left or to the right that if they stand up for truth, off their head.
Yeah. I couldn't. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because they're not walking around in military uniforms, are they? They're walking around in everyday clothes, and to know who is good and who is bad is such a hard fight. It really is. And for every civilian gets killed, another person gets radicalized to their cause. And how can you bring peace when there is just so much terrorism, evilness going on there? It's a shocking place.
Yeah, and it's spreading to all facets of the world. Where you're at, the United Kingdom, here in the United States, radical Islam is in my state of Texas, of all places, and we've done a documentary that they're literally running Sharia law in Dearborn, Michigan, and now it's coming out that the police officers in Dearborn Heights are wearing the first Arabic patches on their uniforms. This is happening in the United States of America.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because in the UK, we actually have buildings saying Sharia court on them. There is a whole underbelly legal system that is operating. The biggest steadfast stronghold is Birmingham. I mean, me personally, my own opinion, Birmingham has fallen. It has become an Islamist stronghold, dare I say it. But what I will say is, looking at President Trump and what he's up to, he's clearing out. He's doing a good job tackling this, making sure that God, Christianity, is standing strong. I mean, speaking from the UK, I'm watching our king, who is supposed to be the defender of the faith, actually bowing down to Islam. And I'm a bit shocked by that, in all honesty. Really shocked. So, has England fallen already? I'm unsure. but we may possibly, and I think it was Pete Hegseth that said it, become the first Islamic state with a nuclear weapon. Will Trump let that happen? What do you think?
No, I don't believe that will happen. And you're absolutely right. That's shocking when he said that, but it's literally true. It shows you what happens when you just let the borders come in and anybody come in. They take over your country. So what happened in the United States of America. And President Trump is doing things that the average American can't see yet. Not only does he have National Guard in these big cities, but our military is working 24/7 underground to clear out some of these strongholds. 3 months ago, I was very concerned about a terrorist attack and still concerned about a terrorist attack, a 9/11 type attack in the United States, because I was told that they were planning at least 17 of them at the same time. And we've done a really good job of clearing some of the bad terrorists out, but we're not out of the woods yet.
No, no, I think a big chunk of the world aren't out of the woods yet. I mean, I'm looking at the National Guard deployment, and to me, my gut feeling is saying either, I hate to say it, the police force is so overwhelmed now that they did not stand a chance of being able to regain control in their cities, or is Trump deploying the National Guard to tackle a whole host of problems, some of which we don't even know about?
That's exactly what he's doing. For to the public, he's waking up the average American who's lived in some of these big cities, and crime has been rampant and there and with no hope. Now he's showing hope to Washington D.C. yesterday in Boston, soon to be Chicago. He's going in there with that to get the American people to realize safety and criminals have to be taken off the streets. But also he's working on some other things too, behind the scenes, getting terrorists out of our country, and also preparing for potentially a civil war type or a martial law in the United States.
Mm. Uh, I think you're absolutely right with that because, as you said a minute ago about potential terrorist attack, we're in the UK, and I'm just speaking from the UK. We're letting in so many undocumented illegal migrants, and Biden destroyed America in the 4 years he was there. I mean, drugs, fentanyl was pence to buy. He flooded it with so much cheap drugs and, dare I say it, terrorists. Because I can tell you now, not everyone coming across is saying, "Help me, I'm a victim." That he did a lot of damage, and you've got to reverse that. Unfortunately, the UK hasn't fully woken up yet to start reversing our damage. Dare I say it, we are getting closer, which hopefully should be a big change coming our way. But I mean, who would I just can't understand. It is pretty much from design that they wanted to destroy our countries. And you can just see it, can't you? But why aren't anybody standing up screaming from the towers? What is going on?
Well, we've done two documentaries on the border, Battle at the Border. I spent personally time with Sheriff Lamb on the Arizona border, and then we did one in Texas as well. So we have it all documented, sent out to the American people because fake news was lying. They'll tell you maybe 15 million people came across, according to the experts we know through Tom Homan. It's 50 million people that came into the United States, and at least 2 million of those were the worst of the worst, military age terrorists coming into every one of our cities. So it's far worse. And what you said was absolutely spot on. This was orchestrated. I was with, as I said, Sheriff Lamb and Sheriff Daniels, and I saw how they were coming across the border. They were using apps to go to certain points. They were given all their rights that they could have when they come into America. They were given prepaid cards of up to $5,000. They were given iPhones. They were uh, telling how to beat the legal system. It was all orchestrated on purpose.
Yeah, 100%. And you had these big aid companies or whatever NGOs there, USAID, they were going down across the border and helping. I mean, surely isn't that a terrorist act to show people how to get across the border and to, dare I say it, beat the system? That's working against the best interests of the country, isn't it?
Yes, and to take it even further, and disgusting it is human trafficking. The children, when you talk about missing 300,000 children, I think it shocked Americans. What do you mean we're missing 300,000? And that's a low number. When I was at the border, we watched the families come across the border, and I would say 60% 60% of the kids coming across the border were not related to the people that were bringing them across the border. That's a problem. Joe Biden, one of the first things he did was eliminate the DNA testing that President Trump had. And then you have these kids going all these places throughout the 50 states, and they're not their real family.
I'm glad you brought that up because in the UK at the moment, we have a lot of illegal migrant men who are coming across who are claiming to be 15-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys. Now, I had a lovely chat with somebody who is working in care homes for the children, foster homes, sorry, almost. And she said, we take them to the dentist. And the dentist has quiet chats with us afterwards, going, you do know this is a adult male above the age of 18, because in the UK, 18 is deemed an adult. And they went to him, well, how do you know? He went, your teeth don't lie. Your teeth tell me everything. He said that the teeth are all, and he actually went as far to say they were over the age of 20. Now we have adult men being put in with children, and they are screaming their human rights that they're not allowed to be age profiled. Uh, uh, I mean, it is bonkers what human rights has allowed to be deemed acceptable. Because I can tell you now, I would not want someone who claims to be a child put in a home with real children unless you can verify that that person is below the age of 18. I mean, the absolute crackpot things that have happened under DEI or political correctness is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it's almost like they've brainwashed us into keeping our mouths shut. And I sit back and I'm like, I can't stay quiet anymore. And more people in the UK are speaking up, which is phenomenal because once upon a time, we were a country where we would say it how it is. And over the years, they've gradually henpecked us with DEI and political correctness to the point that if I say one thing wrong against somebody, I can be arrested because I've caused anxiety, hurty words. Can you believe the world we are living in at the moment?
It's absolutely insanity. I've read articles and stories in the UK of people just posting something on social media and being arrested. Same thing happening in Canada. Our brothers and sisters in Canada. It is absolutely out of control, and it takes the remnant to rise. And I'm starting to see the remnant rise in Canada. I think you're starting to see the remnant rise in the UK. And that remnant needs to stand up to get their countries back. Otherwise, it's all over. We had to do that in the United States, and praise God that President Trump was brought back into office. I think the giant that was asleep inside we the people is awaking now, and we're going to take our country back. We're starting to. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but it's time for us to go on the offense.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And it is happening in the UK. I mean, there's quite possibly the biggest march that the UK has ever seen
Yeah.
on the 13th of September. It's being done by Tommy Robinson. Do I like the man personally? I'm unsure. But what he's standing for currently, right here, right now, I'm backing. And I'm going up there myself because, yes, I'm quite far away, but this cause is worth it. And I think there it comes a point in everyone's life where a cause is worth you standing up, being counted, and going, enough is enough. And that's where I think we're at now in the UK. It's hard though because they keep bringing in more restrictive laws. I mean, we've got the Online Safety Act, which was supposed to be brought in to protect children. It turns out it had a load of traps built into it to affect every aspect of online media. So there is once in a while where our videos get taken down, our platforms get taken down, and we have to start again because this is how they work. They've realized now no one is watching mainstream media because it is all propaganda and lies.
Yep.
And citizen journalism, whatever way you want to call it, is making a stand. We are getting raw, unfiltered information to the people. We are getting the truth to them. And I'm quite frankly a father of two, and I need to be able to look at my children every day and said I tried to do something to make their futures better. And that's the way I live my life now because if I can't do that, I'm no better than any of these people that sit there and let the crimes happen, that sit there and let the hate speech happen, that is eroding our society.
Absolutely right. Each person watching this today, it's a time to stand up and stand up for to be the remnant. Look what the United States of America went through with a sitting president. When President Trump was president, he was taken off a platform, Twitter. He was algorithms taken off. If you do that to a sitting president, they have no fear. And the only way to fight back with that is alternative media and getting the truth out and not stepping back.
Yeah, I mean, when we look back now at that last election, election interference was massive, massive. You know, you look at Russiagate and all the rest of them, where they were all colluding to stop President Trump. The thing they were accusing him of, they were all guilty of. That's the funny thing about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is so deep. You know, you got a former president that is tried to take out a coup. This is treason at the highest level. Obama trying to what he did to President Trump, and then you have all the three-letter organizations built into this. This is the largest scandal in the history of the United States of America, and it's coming unraveled. They should be very nervous because President Trump and his great cabinet and team are coming after him. And I just had President Trump's attorney on his glory 2 weeks ago, and he said justice is coming.
Oh, fantastic. That's amazing. We all know President Trump has a plan. He might not be
Yeah.
telling us it, but he's got a plan and he's enacting it. And wow, it is bearing fruit. It really is. I mean, Washington, D.C., the first city in America that's not clean of crime, but my God, you feel safe to walk around at night. I mean,
Yes, and that's coming to the other cities too.
yeah, he's doing them one by one. And sometimes I'm a big advocate of the system can get so eroded and corrupted that it needs a reset. And in my head, him putting the National Guard in there, getting on top of all these gangs, getting on top of all these criminals, clearing the streets, maybe this will actually allow the police force and the agencies to do their jobs properly without feeling like they're putting out a million fires and there's always new ones springing up. So I've got big hopes for this, and I'm hoping that that will come to the UK because China has actually issued a warning in London not to go out at night because of the high levels of knife crime. I mean, London, England. When did we become a third world country? Really?
Yeah. It's absolute insanity. We got to get the safety back. Another thing President Trump is doing by going into these cities, he's really separating his platform MAGA versus the restriction the people coming against him, the Democrats. You know, they're still dying on the Hill not to have crime in cities. Just think about that for a second. They're fighting President Trump about not having crime in the cities. And that's a hill they're going to die on, and it's caving on them. You got the mayor of Washington D.C. now saying, who is a Democrat, "Thank you, President Trump. You're helping clear up my city." So it's not a good political move, especially going into the 2026 midterm elections.
Yeah, I mean, I predict the midterm elections, Trump and everyone who supports him are going to win by a landslide because he's doing some big things right now to correct everything that has gone wrong in the US. But this is the bit I can't understand. You've still got pushback from cities when the results don't lie. You've proved that you have managed to reduce crime significantly, and yet you are not standing up, screaming from the high heavens, us next. Well, I
Yeah.
don't understand it. Yes, I understand the National Guard report on a federal level. Wait, so you're scared that you don't have control over them? Well, why are you scared? And honestly, I sit here and I'm like, you must be covering something up. If you are not screaming, send in the National Guard, clean the streets up, because they're there to support the police. They're not there to replace the police. They're all going around with police officers and FBI agents and all the rest of them to clean the streets. It baffles me. It really does. I mean, the only thing I can think of is they want us all fighting each other on the streets, so then we're not looking at them.
That's exactly right, because President Trump is doing more. He's playing 5D chess. he's doing more than just cleaning up the criminals, as we said earlier. There are things going on behind the scenes and underground that will shock people. That is going to be very positive, and that's one of the only reasons you would say, why would they fight that? Because he's bringing in troops to expose it. And look at L.A. a few months ago. People thought that was an ICE raid. Well, that was far deeper than an ICE raid. Those are arrests of some high-level people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. A lot of ringleaders I think we're seeing rounded
Yep.
up now. And I'm still waiting for the one arrest that will shock the world. And you can feel it's brewing, can't you? The Biden auto pen story is massive at the moment. I mean, who was really running the country? Because it's obvious he wasn't. He just seemed to be like somebody they rolled out whenever they needed him.
That's exactly right. The generals that come on his glory say, without a doubt, it was Barack Obama. He was running it from his DC headquarters and using Susan Rice in Biden's administration on a day-to-day basis. But it wasn't Biden. The news came out over the weekend that Biden said he wasn't even aware of most of these pardons, let alone the auto pen.
Yeah, and do you know what the thing that just sends off fireworks with me? How can you issue pardons to people when they've done nothing wrong, they've been charged with nothing, they've been found guilty of nothing? Now, if you're issuing those pardons, then you must know there's something there. Well, hang on a minute here. This is sounding corrupt. And let's be fair, being able to give out a pardon is a supreme power of running the US. You do not issue those lightly because that is that is something that could be taken away. Because you sit here now and you think, right, I've given a pardon to my son who's been found guilty of nothing. Well, actually, now it turns out he has. But yeah, I sit here thinking, God, you have just told us everyone we need to look at deeply and go, it's you, you, and you we need to be looking at.
Yeah, and the key is look at the dates that are pardoned, like Dr. Fauci, why he was pardoned down to 2014. Well, that was the start of the biolabs in the Ukraine. So that's why they went that far back. And you look at the January 6th committee that had the auto pen pardon. Why would they do that? Because January 6th is going to be come back on them. They're going to show that this was a setup. President Trump's attorney, again, on with me 2 weeks ago, said they have video evidence to show this was planned before that event. And they're all going down. You have the Act Blue scandal that's going on right now that was part of Doge. $1.6 trillion with a T of fraud and going all back to the Democratic Party. And that is being unraveled right before our very eyes.
Oh, isn't it just? Isn't it just? But you can just see this is dare I say it, a ball of yarn that's got so knotted and it's a slow process to unravel this because it's got to be done right. You only get one shot at this. If you get it wrong, that's it. They've got away with this. So I understand in my head that yes, we want good to win right now. We want to see everything change right now. But this has to be done slowly and methodically, or else we're just going to have the same system again in 10, 20 years' time when Trump's finished being president. I truly believe he is doing this the right way and he is changing things to a point that this should never ever happen again in my children's lifetimes. That's what I'm hoping for, is that my children get to see a world that is far better than what they came into. I mean, the mail-in votes. I saw
Yeah.
a story just this morning. I didn't realise you could register your pet to vote. A lady
Mhm.
had registered her dog who had voted twice in 2 elections. I mean, talk about a system that's broken from the core.
Well, you look at the state of Pennsylvania, which is a swing state. I think the number was 200,000 more paper ballots than actual voters. How that got certified, that's the purpose. That was the purpose of January 6th, was to cover up the stolen election of 2020. And I'm very close with the people who have all the information. Just had Patrick Byrne on 2 days ago and Mike Lindell. They have the evidence and they're going to prove it to the American people that 2020 election was stolen. January 6th was the cover up. And as President Trump's attorney said with me, all of it's connected. Every single one of these scandals is connected.
Oh, isn't it just? You can just you actually see the spider web all starting to come together. And once they've got all those ringleaders exposed, because it has to be exposed, because one thing we know, you can't tell someone the truth because they will
Yeah,
shut down. You have to show them the truth. And a lot of people couldn't handle it if you went, here it all is, right here, right now. They just could never process it. So it's coming out in dribs and drabs, which is fantastic because it's bite-sized chunks that they can understand, piece by piece, little by little. And just going back to that election fraud, we had the wonderful Tina Peters on the show last year before she was
hmm,
sentenced, and she exposed the corruption. That at one point the votes were this, she logged back in, and the votes were totally different.
yeah,
Jerome Corsi, he's working with a data analyst. There are things inside those systems that change votes and then disappear again. It's phenomenal how corrupt these Dominion voting machines were. And I believe Trump is currently trying to push for paper ballots to be counted by hand, which I think is the only way to do it because then there's total transparency. One central system that is a computer that is technically not supposed to be connected to the internet, but actually is, well, someone's in control of that, which means someone's in control of picking the president of the United States. That's the
that's
scary
exactly
thought.
right. And they caught him, and that's the key thing. They caught him. Dr. Corsi was with me a couple of weeks ago talking about that, and Act Blue as well. Patrick Byrne shows how they did it, how it was connected from Venezuela to China, stealing American election, and how Maduro is running Venezuela as a cartel, and the juniors are in Mexico. Mexico's cartels are basically working for him. You mentioned fentanyl coming into America. It's through this, and that is that's a threat of national security. So you see President Trump over the weekend even ratcheted up more to go after the cartels. We know where their locations are. We know where they warehouse these drugs, and now we're going to go on the offense and take them out.
Oh, 100%. And, everyone's kicking off. Oh my God, you took out a drug dealer boat in the ocean. Well, yeah, of course we did.
Yeah.
It's a drug dealer boat. You're not understanding that if you don't take out these people, then it's just going to keep happening. I mean, I've seen stories. They even use submarines. This war
Hmm.
is sophisticated against the drug cartels. It's not as simple as some person with a box of drugs in the back of a truck trying to sneak across the border. They are clever. They can deceive you. They can make you think that they are somebody totally different. And they've been doing this a long time. And I'm still shocked to this day that American planes aren't just carpet bombing poppy fields and every other type of facility. Because I sit here and I've seen what drugs can do. I've seen a couple of friends go down the drugs route and lose everything. That it is a phenomenally horrible product, and yet it still thrives. It still
Yeah.
thrives. And you can anyone who pushes back against a war on drugs is in it as well. Anyone. Anyone. So when I look at these politicians who are like, oh, well, they might not have been drug dealers and all that, I guarantee you they were because you don't just launch an airstrike on a boat randomly at all. So I'm 100% behind Trump because he's actually doing a war on drugs.
Yeah. And fentanyl is so powerful. We've lost more people in America killed than all of our wars combined. That's how bad this war on fentanyl is. It's not like they're sneaking some low-level drugs in. No, this is enough to kill people. And driving with Sheriff Lamb's team, we apprehended a smuggler of fentanyl. And it's so powerful. The police officers just can't go up to the door. It's so powerful. Even if you get close to it, it's strong enough that it could kill you. So they had to bring in hazmat suits to go in and open it up to see how much fentanyl they had.
Wow, it's phenomenal. And we're seeing stronger and stronger drugs hitting markets. I mean, we've got
Yeah,
one in the UK and its nickname is zombie drug because it just turns people into zombies and they just walk around like a zombie. And that's taking the UK by storm. So, yes, we need to do more to fight this war on drugs. But moving away from that now, I need to ask you because in the UK, something we're seeing quite a lot of is a resurgence in Christianity.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, Christianity is sticking its head up and saying, we will not go quietly into the dark. And it's wonderful to see. Is there a bigger resurgence in that in the US as well?
Yes, especially in young people. There was a poll that just came out, I think, a week ago that the younger generation is three times more closer to Christ and their faith than they have in the last 20 years. We're seeing underground resurgence of Christ, underground church in Iran, China. Iran probably has the fastest growing underground church in the world. The more the Ayatollah persecutes them, the more the church grows. And we're seeing the love of Christ just spread. We're looking at the greatest revival in the history of the world. We're just in the beginning stages. It's like a couple popcorns popping before the whole thing goes pop, 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 pop. And it's a great time to be alive because you know what, the church has been persecuted so long, so much. Even in Alaska this weekend, there was Islam burned a church in Alaska. And it's happening all over the world. And you know what? We're standing up and we're seeing a resurgence. We're seeing dreams and visions, exactly like the prophet Joel talked about in Joel 2. It's an amazing time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK just over the weekend, there was a gentleman who ripped the cross down off of a church in the UK. It's shocking that people are willing to desecrate religious symbols just because they don't believe in it without any respect for that religion. Um, I'm I'm a big advocate of I may not go to church every Sunday, but I believe God is with me all the time. So wherever I pray, He is there. And a lot of the time, it's not about you having to show your Christianity. You don't need to have crosses with you at every point, but you've got to have the openness in your heart to have the divine light shine on you. Because I can tell you now, I've become a lot more religious these last 4 years, and it brings me far more peace than it's ever done. It really has, because that horrible time in 2020, when you think the world is ending and actually it's not ending, it does make you seek a bit more of a spiritual enlightenment, I found.
Yeah, exactly true. I noticed that in the 4 years under Joe Biden, we did with General Flynn the Reawaken tour, hit 25 different cities. We did the green rooms and we did the baptisms and all of them. And I remember when we would pray over them and go over and speak. In the beginning, there was patriots that came in that were not close to Christ, and then there was Christians that came to this event didn't know how to be patriots, and the two converged in that 4 year period. It was the greatest thing, and people's lives changed. We baptized over 7,500 people at those events, and the love of Christ just is spreading, and it's amazing. People woke up in that 4 years, and now the people ask themselves, what is it? What has God called me to do for such a time as this?
Yeah. Do you know what? I believe things are put in our path for a reason.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't be sitting here now if my mum hadn't passed away because of the dreaded, dare I say, shots. And that was almost a call to arms for me to stand up and actually go, I need it's time to make the world a better place. But on the flip side of that as well, it brought God far closer to my heart. Because up until that point, religion, was I fussed? Was I bothered? No. But after that moment and everything that goes with it, that's for another show. All of a sudden, I'm like, do you know what? God does have a plan, and He is there for us when we need Him the most, and that's something that keeps me going. Really, that's the only thing to describe it. Is it's like a force, a power that keeps you going in this world.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, just a couple minutes ago. You know, I always say if you're doing religion, you're doing it wrong. It's a love relationship and the heart, that personal relationship, and that's what you said a couple minutes ago. How that's changed you, that personal relationship. And once you have that personal relationship and you got that shalom, that peace from the Most High God, you know He's got it. You don't know how He's going to do it, but you trust Him. He's got it, and He's got a plan, and that plan will always be victorious.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean that show's just flown by. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap things up?
No, just to the United Kingdom, my brothers and sisters there, do not give up. It may look dark now. It looked dark for the United States. We're not out of it, but you know what? God has a plan. This is a time in your life that you're being called for such a time as this. And truly, I always say this is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Only if we're activated, like when David took up the stone to take out Goliath. It's time to take the stone to Goliath. Goliath is not expecting us to go on the offense, and it's time for us to go on the offense.
Couldn't agree more. Wonderful words said. Well, I'm going to put Pastor Dave's links down below in the description. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. God bless. Or bye now.